Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. We are in DC. This is, let's just call it the DC special. I'm going to try to do a fake special every time that I'm out of town or something like that. So we did make it to DC. This is day 2 of the DC tour. That's what I'm going to call it, the Cool Hand tour. And we saw Tasha with Nula for Yanya yesterday. And there was another opener for that show that I got to meet, and I just learned about some new music. I believe her name was Ada Leah. I took a picture with her and all that, so that was a cool show. DC streets is crazy. It's really crazy. They don't show you this side of DC on TV, but it is what it is. Anyway, in this episode, I'm going to talk about I'm going to answer the questions that some of you guys asked me. I had requested on my Instagram to ask me questions, anything, and I'll answer it on the podcast. So I think this is a good time to do it. Fun fact, I did this in the car. I have a GoPro. I'm not going to reach for it. I have a GoPro and I put it on my windshield to record me while I was driving. And I actually did the Q&A in the car, and I thought it turned out cool. I looked at the footage and the audio was all jacked up. So I'm here to do it the right way, in a controlled environment, a quiet room, all that stuff. But before I answer some of those questions, I stopped in Severna Park, Maryland, and I hit up the liquor plug. And then I found another liquor store that had a great selection. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I currently live there now. And the liquor selection it's okay. There's only so many liquor stores. There's one big liquor chain, and that's it. There's not too many other liquor stores in between of that one big chain. So when I'm out of town, I try to, hit up the spots and see what they got, if they have something that our liquor stores don't have. So for the people who do know me and follow the Cool Hand Podcast, I love me some cognac. I always say Hennessy is not the best cognac. It's very popular, but one of my favorites, or my favorite cognac, is Martell. And I found Martell in one of these liquor stores, and I got Martell VSOP. The light's shining on it, but VSOP those are the ones that are aged from 3 to 5 years, I believe. So this is the box here. I actually took the liquor out of the box for convenience, so I can take the wrapping off and all that stuff. So we're going to crack this open live on the Cool Hand Podcast. Then we're going to get into the questions. So here it is, VSOP Martell. Let's see what this aroma is about. Smells good. Let me see if I can about to pour this up real quick. I don't want to pour up too much. And see what this tastes like. For all my people who want to get into cognac or liquor in general, just to see the different tastes and everything, I would highly recommend Martell. I think it's one of the original cognac houses. I did look this up. I looked up how people make brandy, and to my surprise, Martell, I never heard of Martell. You know why? Because they don't rap about Martell. I heard about Hennessy and E&J from hip hop. That's good. That's good stuff. It's very smooth. Getting to the Q&A, I only got 4 responses, and one of them was my wife. I'm not going to say the names of the people who did respond. I appreciate you all for asking me questions, because it does contribute to an episode. So this episode was built by the people who asked me questions. Now, when I got these 4 questions, I thought, oh man, I didn't get too much support with this, but whatever. But with these questions that were asked, I can answer them. I can give more in-depth answers versus 10 questions or 20 questions, 15 questions. I can, as this episode goes on, and when I did this in my car, I was talking for a while, so I'll try to cut down on some of the points that I was talking about in the original taping, but there's some good questions. So I'm going to start with the easiest questions for me to answer, and then I'll get into the ones that may require a little more explanation. So the first question that I got from somebody that I'm going to answer, not the literal first question, but the first question that I'll answer is one from someone. He said, what is your advice for people trying to get fit? Well, first of all, I'm going to do a disclaimer, as I am not a personal trainer. I'm not a dietitian. I can't answer that question in a scientific way, but as somebody who does diet and exercise, and I don't like the word diet, it's a lifestyle. It really is a lifestyle, because if you're just going to do a temporary diet and go back to your normal way of life, like, what is it? Like, it was just a diet. It's temporary. I don't believe in that. I believe you have to change your whole thing, because if you want to sustain your weight loss or sustain your muscle, you have to make changes. But the only real advice I'll give that I know is applicable is you have to change your mind state. You literally have to change your mindset in order to achieve results that you want. However, there are different factors when it comes to getting fit and weight loss and things like that. Those factors are genetics. Those factors are if you're taking any medications. That's another big thing. The one example I'll give is there's a drug called amitriptyline, which is an antidepressant. Now, I was prescribed this medication not for any depression or anxiety. Rather, I have something called occipital neuralgia. It's a neurologic pain that I get in the back right side of my head. So right here, I'll get like a shocking pain from time to time. And I was prescribed that medication as that's not the primary indication for this medication, amitriptyline, which is anxiety depression medication. But it is one of those like secondary uses that you can use the medication for. So when I was talking to my PCP about it, he said, okay, well, long-term use of this medication can cause weight gain. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, I don't know about that, bro. I took it for a little bit and it didn't really seem to help the occipital neuralgia. I was prescribed another medication that did work better for me, but that's one thing. And I know for a certainty that the drug duloxetine, which is a very popular anxiety and depression medication, I think the brand name is Prozac, with long-term use of it can add weight gain. So there's certain things that, and people who take steroids meaning like the prednisone, the prednisolone, methylprednisolone, things like that. Steroids for people who have like autoimmune diseases or asthma. If you're taking prednisone every day, even if you're taking prednisone every day, you might puff up. So a lot of different factors go into getting fit, as the person asked. But if you don't have any of those things, no thyroid issue, no nothing, any advice, you have to you have to get some education, see what you want to do, and make the changes. But it really starts up here. I'm telling you, it starts with your mindset. For me, I have lost some weight recently. I don't have a pound or kilogram because I have not put batteries in my scale in a while. So it's been a few months. But when I really said, okay, I've always worked out, I've always ate pretty generally healthy. I have some health issues, so I try to stay gluten-free as well. So I don't eat a lot of bread and stuff like that. But when it came to certain things, like I'll eat salmon, asparagus, and rice. Okay, let me cut down on the rice consumption. Let me cut down on the amount of carbohydrates that I'm taking in. Now, because I work out all the time and work out pretty much every day, I would allow myself to eat more garbage. Like, okay, I work out, I'm gonna burn this off. I go so crazy in the gym, I'm gonna woo. I had to get out of that mindset as well. The gluten-free Oreos, cut those out. Flamin' Hot Cheetos, my favorite chip, cut those out. And I replaced them with, I always ate carrots, but I eat more carrots. I eat celery, raisins, and peanut butter. There's more mango, more cantaloupe, things that I already ate, but I just needed to make more adjustments. I had to take things a step further. I do buy alcohol, but I don't drink alcohol a lot. I really don't. I like to collect it. I really don't have to drink for real. So that's the one thing. When you're determined to do it, it gets easier once you start. I do not want a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Like, I actually have no desire. I have no desire to eat Flamin' Hot Cheetos right now. Like, I do have days where I have, like, what they call cheat days or whatever. But honestly, it's not a cheat day. It's, I can eat. My lifestyle allows me to eat some garbage. Like, you have to have a balance, but your mindset does have to change. Like, you don't have to be a super, no, I will not touch carbohydrates. No, like some soldier, some super nutrition soldier, because I'm not. Like, I do my thing. I exercise. I take creatine. I don't really drink whey protein like that. I use it from time to time, but Yeah, and I upped my cardio too. I did up on my cardio too. So I do more cardio, but I still lift. I don't lift heavy. I lift usually 10 to 20 pounds, and I go for endurance and not strength. So that's the one thing about regarding getting fit. The next question is the easiest. That was a little long, but this is the easiest question. This one will be short. So he said, what podcast inspired me to start podcasting? None. Go to the second episode, I believe, on my YouTube. It's called Origins. And I talk about the origins of the Cool Hand podcast. And that's probably me. That's like my second episode ever from 2019. Another one is the Ocean City special. In that one, I reflect on the podcast and how it started and how things have expanded with the podcast, to getting a camera, to doing this and that. And I would like to continue expanding my reach of the podcast as well, especially with the time and resources that I put into it. So no podcast inspired me. I'm not going to spend too much time on that question, but that episode isn't that long. It's probably like 20 something minutes. If you really care to know, you can look at that. The Ocean City special is probably like 30, and you can get more insight on the podcast and how it started and how it's progressed over time. Now, the third question is from my wife, and I'll throw her out there because that adds context to her question. And she said, "Why are you so cute? Kissy face emoji." Okay, well, she might have just been doing that to be cute and everything, woo woo. But when you actually think about it, I'm going to take this in another direction. When you ask why are you so cute? Well, why, in her opinion, I'm cute, and I thank her for that. I'm glad, because she has to see this face a lot. she married this face. But when you want to know why, you want to know why are things the way they are. Well, I didn't choose this face. She thinks I'm cute, and cute is subjective. People think puppies are cute. People think, baby animals are cute or cute. It's cute. You can actions can be cute, but I thought about it, and it made me think about something that I don't like to joke on people for, like things that people have no control over. Now, to give myself credit and how I take care of myself, yes, I drink a lot of water. I don't drink pop like that. I don't drink really pop at all. Sometimes you'll mix it in with the liquor, but that's pretty much it. I don't drink a lot of alcohol. I don't have jaundice where my, my eyes are all yellowy and stuff like that. I do take care of myself. I'm not into drugs and stuff. But another thing is, you can do all that and still be somebody deemed unattractive. In somebody else's opinion, there's people who are unattractive. And let's just be honest. You might see somebody, you never met them, you don't know them, and you say, that is a good looking person. I do it all the time. You can see a guy with a, perfect bone structure and his, a symmetrical face and all this stuff. Like, that is a good looking guy. Like, man, you might see a woman and they have it all. Like I say, symmetrical face and this and that, and their teeth are straight and white. And you're like, she is a very good looking woman. Like, I don't think it's hard to see what's naturally attractive and what's not. But there's some people like myself that you might have to look at them for a while to see if they're like, you might have to get to know them and be like, oh, you know what, he's kind of cute. I like his personality. But the thing is, my point in saying all of that is, we are born the way we are born. I have a nose, I have eyes, I have eyebrows, I have lips, I have 2 big front teeth. That's one thing about me. I used to be called SpongeBob. I used to be called Bugs Bunny before SpongeBob. When SpongeBob dropped in the late 90s, 99, early 2000s, so they had another character with big teeth to call me SpongeBob. So Bugs Bunny retired, SpongeBob came. But I have no control over that. I have no control over how big my teeth are. And all my teeth are pretty big. Like, even you go to the dentist, like, oh, you have big grooves in between. Woo woo. But I may look in the mirror and say, I look good with a haircut. With a haircut, I look good. You don't give me that haircut, I'm looking crazy. I'm looking like Django in the beginning of that movie. I'm looking like Django. I'm looking crazy. But that's my take on why are you so cute. At the end of the day, that's her opinion, and I thank her for thinking I'm cute. I think you're cute as well. if it means anything. The last question, yeah, this is the last question. The last question is a very good one. This is the best question. Just out of the four, this is the best one. This is the best one because it does have to do with music in the podcast, or it doesn't have to do with the podcast, but more so we talk about music on here. So the last question, what songs make you cry and why? Beautiful question. Let me take a sip. That's that Martell. What songs make you cry and why? One song has made me cry, and that's the song, Just See Yourself, Just See Me Too. That song that we usually sing at funerals or memorial services. But outside of that, when we talk about pop culture and why, no song has made me cry, but I have teared up at a lot of songs, and I get the chills more than I actually feel I want to cry when I listen to certain music. For example, Kendrick Lamar's Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. I get the chills when I listen to that, the first part, the Sing About Me part, where he's talking from the perspective of a gang member. And he says, if I die today before your album drops, then you hear 3 gunshots. I think you hear like a body hit the floor, and that person rapping is done. He just stops rapping, but the beat still goes on for a few bars, and then the hook comes in. And when I think about it, every time I get chills, I'm getting chills just thinking about it, because every time I listen to that, it feels new to me. It feels new. And if I die the day before your album drop, the image in my head, he's saying all this stuff in this verse about this gang life, this Pyru stuff been in me forever, whenever, whatever. And I love you because you love my brother like you did, and promise me to tell the story if you make it big. So he's saying all these things that he's saying some real stuff. And the thing is, even though it's Kendrick Lamar kind of portraying a character, this is real. Like, this is real. Like, we got the internet. It's the internet era now. If you want to learn about a Pyru, you want to learn about a Crip, you can learn about these things online. You could hear real testimonies from real gang members and how they really feel. So you take that, and this person is talking that talk, and then his life just stops. He gets killed from the Pyru stuff been in him forever, and it took him out. That gang life took him out. And the fact that he was in the middle of a sentence, he's rapping, he's in the middle of a sentence, and it stops, but the beat still goes on. It just kind of makes you think, as cliche as it is, life goes on. We drop, but that every day you still have to, like, the world continues to move. The world, you die, a lot of people don't know you, don't care, because they don't even know, and life goes on. But that always gives me chills every time I listen to it, every time. And other songs give me chills too, but I just wanted to use that as an example. Singing, like hearing Ray Charles sing Georgia on My Mind gives me chills. Stevie Wonder, certain songs, when he hits certain notes, gives me chills. But the one song that has made me cry, that has made me tear up the most, that almost made me cry, this is going to be a surprise. It is I Want to Be Like You from the Jungle Book, the new version of the Jungle Book, the one that came out in 2016, I believe. The question is why? You have to think, why did that song make me tear up the most? It's not because it's the song. Like, what is he talking about? It's a Gigantopithecus talking about, I want to be like a human. I want the fire like a human. I want to be like you. Side note, I was watching something on racial undertones in the entertainment industry. There's like something deeper than that, apparently, because back then they threw all sorts of racial, what reflected the current state of how people viewed blacks. But that's a whole nother topic that I'm not touching. But on the surface, it's these primates who want to be like humans on the surface. So he's just, and in this new one, you might think it's ridiculous that me, a Gigantopithecus, I want to be like you, I want to walk like you, talk like you, like whatever. But what it did was take me back to when I was a child, and we had the Jungle Book on VHS. My mom, I think my dad was still with us. Yeah, my dad was still in the picture, and we were living in Wilkinsburg, Pittsburgh. And in Pittsburgh, a little area called Wilkinsburg. Finley Drive, apartment 5. I remember it. It rhymed. That's how I remember my old address when I was childhood address. It took me back to that time and how ignorant, wide-eyed, and green I was. I didn't know anything about anything when I was that age, when we had the Jungle Book, when we had the Jungle Book on VHS. So it made me think about the movie, the original movie, and it made me think about the time period when I saw that movie. I had no problems. There were no issues. Both of my parents, they were together. We all lived under one roof. I didn't have to worry about insurance. My job. Didn't have to worry about PTO and bills. I didn't know anything. I was ignorant to everything. I was a child. And those childhood years, you will never get back. You will never get back. Kids are so in a rush to get grown. And, adulthood is nice. But with that luxury of adulthood, responsible adulthood, because if you're not a responsible adult, life is already hard. It'll just be even harder. So you're going to look at kids, because I do it now. I look at kids like, man, I remember what it was like to be a kid, not to worry about this, that. Like, I wasn't watching what I was eating when I was a kid. I was eating Little Debbie's Flamin' Hot Cheetos and Huggies from the store. I was eating Cosmic Brownies. I was eating zebra cakes, strawberry shortcakes. I even ate the little brownies by Little Debbie with the nuts in them. And nobody else liked them, but I'm like, these are pretty good. The nut added like a good, like I think it was like a walnut. It added like a crunch to it. So I like the crunch. Even then, I just think about it. And the song is upbeat and everything. It's, like it's all old school and stuff like that. But it's fun. It's upbeat. It's playful. It's a playful song. And it really just took me back to that time period, which made me emotional, which made me tear up, which made me think of a time where these issues that we have now that come with adulthood, that come with living in this world, were non-existent. It was all non-existent and everything was happy. So that song makes me tear up. It still does to this day. I don't play it that much. I actually have it on my car playlist, like a playlist for my car, and I skip it a lot. First of all, because I don't want to hear that all the, I'm not trying to be in traffic listening to, I want to walk like you. Like, no. But at the same time, every once in a while I do play it and I do get those feelings. Other than that, I don't really, music doesn't make me cry like that. And the last thing that I'll say about this on that question and this topic is, music is powerful. The words and songs are powerful. And it's not that I don't feel anything, because I definitely feel stuff from these songs. That's why I get chills. But when it comes to those tears forming from my emotions, like, that's not really it. It's not like the message isn't clear, like you listen to a love song, or you listen to a song about heartbreak, or you listen to a song about some real stuff that you might have been through. That doesn't drive me to tears, but sometimes it's the voice more so. You hear a beautiful voice, or you hear how someone is able to hit a certain note and have emotion in it. That's the stuff that gives me tears. That's the stuff that makes me, that gives me chills, and that's the stuff that makes me tear up a little bit. Most of the times when I do like tear up from music, it's because of a singer's voice. But that's pretty much it. I thank the four of you and you know who you are if you end up watching this and you made it this far. Thank you for asking your questions. Maybe I'll try to do this again. Thank you for watching the Cool Hand Podcast. I appreciate it. We're live in DC. I'll see you all when I get back. This is the Cool Hand Podcast. Something you got to deal with. Easy.